Welcome. We are at home with Jim and Joy, and you're an important part of our EWTN family. And we are delighted that you have welcomed us into your home, and we would love to hear from you. So send us an email with a question or a comment to jimandjoy@ewtn.com. And today our guest is Michael Shaughnessy, and he is the author of a great book called The Strategic Grandparent, and it is available at ewtnrc.com. And he's also the founder of Grandly, the Strategic Grandparents Club. So you can go to the website grandly.org.
Yeah.
I bet you didn't even know that that thing existed, right? Is there a grandparent club? Grandly.org. You go to their great website and you're going to find out all about it, because we know that so many of our family at home who's watching us, that you are grandparents, and you need to have a strategy how to be with your grandchildren. How do you relate to them? How do you get involved in their world? Even though we may be generations apart, we're connected by love, and they are bone of our bone and flesh of our flesh.
Yeah, I really look forward to hearing Mike, and we just got to share with him a little bit before the show. And I mean, just the terms that he's using here, right? Grandly.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to be a grandparent, do it grandly, wonderfully, to be there. How can I do that? How can I have fellowship with people that are trying to do that? How do I do that in the midst of some extenuating circumstances? How do I do this grandly? And then he uses the word strategic. I mean, strategic grandparenting? Like, what are you speaking about? But it's a thoughtful grandparenting. It's a knowing what's going on in the youth culture kind of thing. It's knowing what you have that nobody else has, and using that as a part of your strategy to do what? To pull up alongside your grandchildren and to be that unique person that only you can be to them. Strategic, grandly. And Joy, you know, in his sharing, he does a lot. Well, he's 50 years a youth minister. I think that's it.
That's amazing in and of itself. 50
years of loving youth and trying to serve youth and working with them. And now he's combining that with how do you use, how can grandparents become the best youth minister to their grandkids? I mean, some of his, it kind of jolts your mind.
Yeah, well, the terminology, you're kind of thinking they don't go together, but they are a beautiful marriage and a beautiful union. Right?
And he's going to unpack that for us. So we pray this will be a great encouragement to you. We know there's a lot of joys and sorrows for you with your children, with grandchildren, maybe great joys. But this is going to be a wonderful show of equipping you to be the best grandparent that you could possibly be to some of the people that you love the most. Plenty more to come. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Welcome back. Well, you're at home with Jim and Joy, and today our guest is Michael Shaughnessy. He is the author of a wonderful book called The Strategic Grandparent, and it is available at ewtnrc.com. And he's also the founder of Grandly, which is a strategic grandparents club. So if you're out there and you say, I'm a grandparent, I need a new strategy, maybe what you were working with your grandchildren, things aren't working, and you want to belong to a club to get more ideas and get more organized and get a new strategy, go to grandly.org. Well, Mike, we welcome you to At Home with Jim and Joy, and we are delighted to have you. But first, we want to bring you to our family, right? Because this is the first time you're on At Home with us. And why don't you tell our family a little bit about yourself?
I grew up in the suburbs of Minneapolis, Minnesota. I could be skiing today, apparently. It's snowing up there. But I'm here in Birmingham. I grew up in an Irish Catholic family. When I was young, I really did have a devotion to the Lord at a very early age. In fact, I asked to become an altar boy before I had received my first communion and started serving on the altar, which wasn't really quite legit. but I had an Irish priest who goes, yeah, okay. Then in high school, most all of my friends, the place that I lived in Minneapolis was a predominantly Protestant area. So almost all of my high school friends were Protestants, and we got involved together in Young Life. And that was a time where my faith really got transformed and changed, and I decided I wanted to go into youth ministry instead of, I was planning on doing something in physics or chemistry. And decided, no, I think I want to go into youth ministry. So I went to St. John's University, Collegeville, Minnesota, did a degree in theology, and then was headhunted by 30 high school kids to start a youth work at St. Benedict's Parish in Avon, Minnesota, and started doing youth ministry right away after college. And that's how I got involved.
So you're still involved with youth ministry. Was I right? Like 50 years?
It is very close to 50 years.
Close to 50 years.
It's just still shy of it, so I'm not quite as old as I might.
Bless your heart.
What a love you must have
Yeah.
for God's heart for young people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a real vocation that you have.
Yeah, it has been, and a real interest for me all along. So I've written on it, and I've trained people across the age ranges, worked with junior high, high school, university age, and now the young adult age, saying what's going on in their heads, what do they most need to hear, where is the church effective, where is the church ineffective at reaching young people, and saying you have to get all those pieces in place. And that was what I've been doing for most of my career.
Yeah. And you know, as I was saying at the outset, when you hear strategic grandparenting, not even the word strategy, but grandparenting, and become like a youth minister, and I did some work among youth, but I never really put together, how are you putting together grandparenting and youth ministry and be the best youth minister you can be, and so on. So take some time and unpack for us, you know, what you're talking about there, because it seems like they're on different ends of the spectrum or something, and how does that fit together?
Yeah, and they would have been. I mean, I don't know if anybody else is thinking, what we really need to do is we need to get grandparents on our youth program team. But I'm saying, well, maybe not exactly on your program team, but you want them involved in the whole of the ministry to young people. And that became clear to me when I was playing golf with a friend, and over time, and he would regularly say, so Mike, I'm thinking I want to send my grandson on a mission trip. When's the next mission trip? Where is it going to be? And how do I pay for it, et cetera? And he'd constantly ask me what he could do to help his grandkids. I thought, this guy is really good. He should have been a youth worker. I go, wait a minute. Grandpa should have been a youth worker? Yeah, Grandpa should have been. And so it started me thinking along this line. And then I have another friend I play golf with, and we're coming back, and he said, remind me to stop off at the drugstore. I need to pick up a birthday card for my granddaughter. She's turning 13. We'll probably give her $20 instead of 10. And I thought, this guy, I know this guy. He loves his grandkids, but he's not at all strategic. He just does what was done when he was young. He's not thinking about how can I do things that'll help move this young person closer to the Lord, closer to his faith or her faith, and really grow as a Christian. And I thought, this thing about grandparents getting involved in youth ministry, I think I need to do this. I need to go here and start looking at it. So that was kind of the impetus behind the whole idea. Then I was wait for a couple of years while I didn't have the funds and I didn't have the person. And then again, grace of God, had a casual conversation in Costa Rica at a conference with a young woman who was 24. She'd done a gap year when she was 19 with us. And she says, so you working on anything new? And I said, yeah, I want to start getting grandparents involved in youth ministry. And she jumped at it and became the first director of Grandly. So that's how it got started.
That's amazing. And so you secured that website,
Yeah.
grandly.org. And so if someone goes there, what are they going to find? What are they going to learn about the strategy? How does the strategy unfold to them?
Yeah. So there's a lot of questions that it tries to answer. Some of these are written, a lot of these are written by grandparents who give stories. This is what I did. We built this kind of stairway down to the river. We had our sons involved. Their friends came over. We prayed beforehand. We did this, we did this, we did this. Those kinds of we did this, how to act strategically, so to speak. And then a bunch of the articles are also written by our youth work staff. So how does a 13-year-old think? What's a 13-year-old facing today? What's an 18-year-old facing in terms of major decisions that they're about to make? And then how do you use youth ministry techniques to get yourself into a position where you have that role of trust, you have wisdom to pass on, they want to relate to you about their lives. So it's helping them to know how to do those kinds of things. And grandparents are in an amazing position. I mean, for your grandchildren, you're one of the few people in their lives, if you think about it, one of the few people in their lives that doesn't have them in their life as a job. My teacher, my coach, my dentist, my priest, my whoever. You're there because you're grandpa and grandma. You have a relationship. That is the key to youth ministry, is you're already in position.
Right.
Right.
And to use that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned Young Life, which I was familiar with, and they speak about earning the right to be heard. They speak about building relationships. And what you're saying is if you can help grandparents to understand you're already there, you don't, I mean, you have to strengthen the relationship, but there is a natural relationship that's there. I think of, our 17 grandchildren, and it's really something when they come over with their parents, and so we're with their parents, our children, and we're with the grandchildren and so on. And sometimes I guess we slip into being the parents of our children again or something, and so we kind of drop that. How could you do that? Like we say, we just kind of slips out, and the kids are there, but the kids love it. The kids like, well, who is...
You are the boss of mommy and daddy. This is great.
Not that you want to, but it just kind of comes out, and they're saying, you're special. Like my mother has a special relationship with you, and then I'm in on this. And so what you're saying is, part of the strategy, I guess, is just understanding what you have, and that we don't even know as grandparents sometimes what we have. The strategic part is a little scary to hear. It reminds me of the military or something. So unpack a little bit. What do you mean strategy? Doesn't this just kind of flow, or what? Or what do you mean by strategy?
Exactly. One of the things that happens when you become a grandparent is you don't need a lot of strategy at the beginning. You don't actually have to think a lot about being a grandparent. You burp and feed and change diapers, et cetera, et cetera. But if you don't start thinking about it, so thinking strategically, if you think strategically, when your 4-year-old comes to you and says, Grandpa, why don't cats bark like dogs? And why is the sky blue? And why? They're at an age of wonder. It's a perfect opportunity to say, God made a wonderful world. What if the sky was brown instead of blue? But God made it blue for us. It's an opportunity not to answer a question scientifically. It's an opportunity to pass on your faith. To pass on your faith to these children who are asking really questions of faith. So part of what we're trying to do with the word strategy is saying, if all you are is intentional, I hope, I would like, I wish, I want, etc., you're not actually coming up with a real plan for what to do. Right. But when you do something like we do cousins camps, we bring all of our grandchildren together for a weekend, and we make it fun. We do Bible study, we do this, we pray together, etc. You go, that's strategic. You've actually come up with a plan. So the whole point of being strategic is saying, how can I get something that'll work? And I think a lot of grandparents are in the place of saying, oh, I just don't know how to make anything work. I don't know if you can. This world we live in, they're almost in a place of hopelessness, or at least discouragement.
Right. Yeah.
And what you say is the way to get out of that is to start thinking differently, to start praying differently, to start acting differently. And that's why we use the word strategic.
Yeah. Well, I so appreciate what you're saying. Jim and I were talking about our grandparents. There was one living grandparent when we were growing up, right?
Yep.
So there weren't grandparents in our lives. And I think today, people are healthier. We're living longer. You may be 63 or 65 or 70, but if you take good care of yourself, you're healthier and you could do more things, as opposed to being off in the nursing home and all I'm going to do is go visit my grandmother or my grandfather, which is a beautiful thing in and of itself, to learn how to love and care in that stage and phase of their living. But I said this the other night to our children. It's so hard being a parent right now because of everything that you have to go through with technology. When we raised our kids, it was back in the day when there were 3 channels on. We made an intentional decision never to have cable.
Yeah.
And so, what do you say to grandparents with technology and being involved? What is your word to them?
It's two different words, in fact. It's two opposite sides of the spectrum. On the one hand, technology is not your enemy. On the other hand, technology is a real problem. So obviously, most grandparents are very aware of the problems of technology and the existence of pornography and all the rest of this, et cetera. And one of the terms I use when I talk about young people growing up today is that they're screenagers. They're constantly in front of the screen.
Screenagers.
Screenagers.
That's good.
On the cell phone, on the tablet, whatever. But they spend a huge amount of their time is in front of a screen. And that screen means that they're not with other people. They're not developing social skills, people skills, all those kinds of things that are very, very important. So the technological side of it is a problem in that they spend so much time on the screen. It doesn't even really matter what they're looking at. It's the cost of not learning how to relate to people. Grandparents have this incredible ability, their position to be able to help a child become an adult, to open doors for them, to bring them into conversations with other adults. And if there's something you think of when you're like 15 or 16, you want to be able to have an adult conversation, but you don't know how to do it.
Right.
Grandparents can help a teenager do that. And when they do it, the teenager says, "That was really good. I really appreciate that." They may not say that to you, but they really experience it that way. And you're bringing them into an adult humanity and hopefully adult faith conversations as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't, I think of John Paul II in this, and we've been thinking a lot about St. John Paul II with this feast day that recently come up. And he speaks often of the gospel of life or about beauty. And he says, don't be afraid to share these things. I think it's the same thing with conversation, the humanness, that it's already written on the heart of others. So the gospel of life, they may not understand the gospel of life and how to do that, but the gospel of life is on the heart. Beauty's on the heart. They might not know how to have a conversation because it's not happening very much. It'll really be with another person looking them in the eyes. But that is written there. And when you begin to do that with them, yeah, they're learning, but there's something self-evident that's there. If someone would take the time to do that which is already written upon the heart, and they can see that, and that will pull that forth.
Yeah.
But you got to take the time.
Yeah. And this is one of the big advantages of combining youth work and grandparenting is we can help you understand what's going on in that kid's mind now, because he's growing up in a world very different than the world you grew up in. And if you can unpack that for them, help them have insight into that. Oh, that's why this is happening. Oh, that's what's going on in a teenager's mind or in a younger child's mind. That equips you, again, strategic, that equips you to be much better at knowing what do I need to say, how do I say it.
What are you finding with these young people? I know it's an age spectrum. What is, because we do say, it's a difficult time to grow up, and there are some things that are unique to this time. We could bemoan that and not move forward, but some of that's true.
Yeah.
So you're mentioning a few things. You mentioned technology. What are the other things that are coming to them? Because there's a strategy of the devil and of the flesh, right?
Absolutely.
Right? Don't be conformed into the strategy, the schematic plan Satan has for you. So we should have a strategy because Satan has a strategy. There's the world, many in the media have a strategy. So what are some things that are confronting them, things we're concerned about, and then what's the key of all keys of concern that we should be concerned about with them?
Let me jump to the second question first. Because I think one of the big mistakes that a lot of people can make is we've got to fix everything that's wrong.
That's good.
And that's not the key thing you need to do for your grandchildren. What you need to do is build in what's right. I grew up in Minnesota, as I said, and I went to the Metrodome, which was air inflated. They didn't have any problem with bugs getting into the stadium because it was overinflated. They had so much positive pressure, it kept the negative things out. And that's a key strategy for grandparenting, is get the right stuff in, that'll help keep the bad stuff out. Trying to plug every little hole, hopeless. You can't beat the world's culture.
That's good.
You just can't do it. But you can build a kingdom culture and a kingdom heart into your grandchildren. And if you do, they become points of light with their own friends, their own peers. You become a missionary raising up missionaries. And I look at that and I say, for a grandparent today, what if the most important thing you have to do in your entire life is still in front of you? And that is passing on your faith to your grandchildren. Because God has put them in this age to make a difference for the age they live in the same way as he put you in the age you were born into to make a difference. What if the most important thing is you are a missionary to your grandchildren? And I'd say it's not just what if, because Deuteronomy 4:9 says, pass on your faith to your children's children.
Right.
You've got a commandment.
We're going
Just
to
go
take a
do
break at this, but that's powerful stuff. We're going to come back for another couple of minutes. We're going to hold you over. We'll be right back. Hope that you're being encouraged by the wisdom and insight that Mike's imparting to us. You're a missionary to your own grandchildren, to your family. We'll be right back. Plenty more to come. Please don't go away.
Welcome back. We are at home with Jim and Joy. And Mike, before we broke, we were having a great conversation, but I want you to tell our family about youth ministry and about how grandparents can become these youth ministers.
Well, I'll give you one real good example, which is, and hopefully this will happen to you, which is a 14-year-old granddaughter will come up to you at some point in time and say, Grandma, can I talk to you about something? Promise you won't tell Mom and Dad. Now, what's going on there, and what do you say? Now, the typical grandparent might well think, oh, I'll have to say, oh, yes, I promise I won't tell. And you go, no, you shouldn't probably do that. And you're mistaking something that's going on because your teenager has just said, Grandma, I trust you enough. I'm looking for you to tell me that my trust is well placed. And your answer should be, you know I love you. I would never do anything to hurt you. Let's work on this together and see what we can come up with. That's a youth worker's response, because you've just come alongside, not top down, you've come alongside that grandchild who's saying, I'm looking for somebody I can put my confidence in. And once they have that, you're in that position, you're good to go.
Without betraying parental authority.
Exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that says that, what you said.
Yeah. And once they're there, then they go, I can talk to you about this. I got to tell you this one real quick story. This is my sister, Carmen. She and I were in youth ministry together way back when. She's older than I am. She is saying that I'm loving youth ministry second time around as a grandparent. And she was in a car with her granddaughter, who kind of out of the blue asked the question, Grandma, how do you know if you might be a lesbian? And of course, my sister's going, oh my goodness. At your age, I didn't even know what the word meant. And if I did, I surely would not have asked my grandmother, how you know this? And she said, well, honey, what makes you think that? She said, boys, they make me so mad. And she realized, okay, this isn't this horrible, big, but she was real clear. This is my granddaughter saying, I trust you more. So it's that ability to win trust. How do you get into the position where you can win trust with your grandchildren? And you start when they're 4, and you may make progress when they're 9, and you may have the magic conversation at 16. You don't know when. You really don't know what the key thing is that you're going to do. But if you're in position to do it, you can do it. So that's one of the key skills of youth work. Being able to do a good conversation, being able not to be in a position of condemning, but also helping them to understand things like, you know, grandson, I probably wouldn't hold the same view that you would on that. Why do you think I hold the view that I hold? You're now treating him as an adult rather than, you're wrong, I'm the grandparent, I'm older than you, I'm wiser than you. Again, you come alongside and say, I probably don't hold that same view. How would you think and why would you think I hold the view I do? So it's all just basic youth work skills. And it's a lot of fun.
Yes. Well, I could tell it's fun. It really comes through you and your love for young people. So thank you. And we're going to share more coming up on Thursday. So we look forward to unpacking this more fully. The strategic grandparent, your most important and fun role yet. Mike Shaughnessy. You're an important part of this EWTN family. You're never alone, and you're always at home with Jim and Joy. Keep it on EWTN. God bless you. Bye now.